roll up from him?
I got 6.
I got a 5. I couldn't see your dice, so I'm just going to take it for your word. But you did roll your loaded dice, so probably is a 6.
I guess I'll do the intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Out Age of Sigmar presents Tip of the Spear. This week we have got the Ogor Mawtribes Warglutt Marauders, the first of the 2 new ones. But before we get into that, what have you been up to this week, Duncan?
I have not done a great deal. We've done a little bit of filming. We've done like a, which will hopefully be coming out soon, walkthrough of a City of Ash battle report. And luckily I feel like we can talk about that because it's not like it's... We just did a one battle round, so it's not like a whole game. But I don't know why. Whenever we seem to do the talk-throughs, we seem to roll really well.
I mean, I definitely did.
You vote like that did not. That was a game. If someone was like, I wonder which army I should choose between the two, you'd always go Skaven because you basically wiped my army in a battle round.
I tabled you in a battle round, and I wasn't even necessarily trying to. I just, I mean, to be fair,
crazy.
I think just your army sucks.
It does, unfortunately.
Yeah. Obviously, we got the tournament now.
We are currently at, if you're listening on podcast, yes. If you're watching on YouTube, it was last week, so you might already know how we did. So create a time machine and let us know how we do. You're still a little undeciding of what you're going to take.
I think I'm probably going to take the latest Sylvaneth and just see what that's like.
I thought that was a good idea because we've done a couple games with it, but not seen it played in a tournament yet that we've been to, and I think you'll have a good time with it.
It should be good.
And you get to use the best regiment ability in the game.
I do. Heal D3 to everything.
Well, I'm going some form of ogre, so my hope I just kill you so you can't heal. You can't heal if he's dead. That'll be my plan when we have to inevitably play.
I also had a league game which I unfortunately lost in a very close one. It was 42-40 in the end.
Ooh.
Yeah. Bunch of magma drops charge in and smash.
That's the meta.
Yeah, there's a...
Probably even better now this season, I would assume, than it was in the last season.
Now the Rune Sons they spend a rage dice and they can either get a 5 at ward, add another one to their attacks, or they can heal something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. In any combat phase, I think potentially. I don't think the healing one's like crazy good. I think it's just like you can heal a couple. But then again, a couple might be all you need to heal. I'm still struggling with tactics a little bit. I've not picked the right army. I picked a castle shooting army to try and do tactics. Tactics aren't going too well for me. Scoring pretty well on objectives for the most part, but tactics have eluded me.
Well, I've got to try and get mine right because I've not got a league game coming up this week, but I've got just like a friendly game with our friend Luke, because we never really properly completed our one, so it'll be hopefully time allowing I'll actually get a whole game in of it, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and that's against Nurgle.
I got another one Saturday against Slanesh. First time ever playing Slanesh, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, moving on from that, we'll get into the ogres, the third of their soon-to-be 4 spearheads. When you do look at what's in it, it is alarmingly similar to their first one. You have the exact same general, the Tyrant. Are there any other spearheads that have the same general? Because I know obviously the Grey Seer is in 2, but he's not the general in one of them. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any general who's the general in 2.
I suppose it depends how you actually technically define it, because I'm pretty sure the original Cities has...
I think it's the same hero, but he's
hero but on a horse.
Yes.
And then the latest, and probably best Cities, has that hero but not on a horse. So, I mean, depending on how technical you want to get with it, I suppose they are the only one. Yeah, both the Free Guild Marshal.
Yeah.
The one's Free Guild Marshal.
So that's the closest. But this one, I mean, and I suppose the reason basically is the fact that it's...
They've only got like 3 heroes in their entire...
Well, I would assume the reason is because it's a new model. So they wanted to get the Spearhead with the new models, so that is the reason. You get a unit of 2 gluttons and a unit of 3 gluttons. We were wondering whether, because we heard that they were changing the number in the units, that would be a unit of 5. But instead they've split it up into 2 units, which I think it's good for some things, but a unit of 5 gluttons going around would have been pretty nasty. You've got a unit of 3 iron guts. And then another one we didn't see coming was they split up the 2 more beast cavalry into 2 units of 1.
Which I actually do think is a good thing. I don't necessarily agree with the splitting the gluttons up, but I agree with splitting the cavalry.
You probably wouldn't have liked it if they'd have split the gluttons up and left all of them to come in the third battle round, though. That would have been bad. I'm happy. It's better the way it is. We'll go into what we actually think they should have done with the coming in later shortly. But so you do, in theory, get a lot of units in this army, which is quite nice. It is just a shame they don't all start off on the board.
Yeah, I don't like it when they split, because they do it. They do it sometimes, and sometimes it sort of makes sense.
Yeah,
like with the Hellsmiths, they're 2 units of 5 instead of a unit of 10, because that would really hurt if they didn't have 2. But yeah, I don't know how it feels sometimes when they just take 4 units and split them.
The battle trait, and I was very pleased to see that they actually have a battle trait, because it is the 3rd time of asking after neither of the original 2 actually even had a battle trait that wasn't a negative thing. They actually get an ability.
Well, yeah.
Which is really, really nice. And it kind of goes along with, I would say, the one that they actually get in the main game as well. It's a very watered down version of it, but it is a version of it that's kind of similar.
That's what Spearhead always is normally about, the battle traits.
So the battle trait, Scoff Down Flesh. If an enemy unit was destroyed this turn, pick a friendly unit that used a fight ability this turn to use this ability. There's a lot of ability in that wording. Pick one of the following effects to apply to that friendly unit for the rest of the battle. Raw and Bloody Flesh. Add 1 to hit rolls for that unit's combat attacks if it charged in the same turn. Exotic Giblets. Subtract 1 from ward rolls for damage points inflicted by this unit's combat attacks. And Steaming Brains. Add 3 to the unit's control score. All 3 really good abilities.
Yeah.
Giving an army primarily hits on 4s an ability to hit on 3s. Yes, it's a little bit restricted because it has to have charged in the turn, but that's, I think, where you just got to plan this one out. Is a brilliant ability. Giving an army with not many models but pretty decent control score per model a buff to its control is a brilliant ability. Minusing 1 from something's ward against certain armies, brilliant ability. So all 3 are really good.
Yeah, and like you say, the fact you get to pick it, and it's end of any turn.
Yep.
So you can sort of tailor make it. The fact that, like you say, you can add the control at the end of the turn before scoring.
Yep.
Is very useful.
Yeah. And the fact that it doesn't need to be your unit that's destroyed the enemy unit that gets the buff. It can be a combat that's happened on the other side of the board where you are like, oh, I'm still in this combat, haven't destroyed the unit, and I need that control score buff. Or next turn it'll be really good if I can -1 from their wards on the damage I do. So I think they are really good abilities. Against some armies, easier than others. Some armies that have just really tanky units, it takes a few turns of combat to kill. You won't be getting them straight away. Some armies you'll easily whittle down a unit, but then sometimes that's a reinforced unit and it comes back. So it can be a bit of a double-edged sword with that, where it might be like, yes, I killed the unit, and they're like, great, a whole unit 10's coming back now. You got plus to hits, but that unit's going to charge back into you, so it's not really going to help you.
Yeah, as much as obviously we said it's nice that you can sort of potentially, obviously the unit needed to have 4 to be able to have a buff, but you can go, well, I don't necessarily have to give it to the one in combat. End of any turn's good, so you can do it at the end of your opponent's turn, give it to a unit that isn't in combat, so then likelihood is you'll get the charge to get the plus to hits. That's like the ideal scenario. But as you don't have a massive amount of units on the board, the likelihood is most of your stuff is probably just going to get locked in combat and stuck in combat. I think it's a very nice ability, but Whether or not you'll always get to maximise its effectiveness is probably this army's downside.
Yeah. And I think a large amount determined by what army you're playing against.
Yeah.
My sort of rule of thumb was, if it was the end of their turn one where I'm going to go next, and one of my units that fought was then out of combat, probably give it the plus to hits, because it's probably going and charging something else and going to get the benefit of that. If not, it's probably the control score boost, because the fact that one ogre can probably have 5 control score, your general and the cavalry units, they've already got 3, so they can be 6, so they can be out controlling them like a little monster there.
Yeah.
So I do think all of them are really good abilities. I do think they can be a little bit hard to guarantee in terms of, well, yay, that unit now plus to hits, but there's only one model in that unit left. It's not really doing much now. Or, one of them could be completely useless if they've just not got any wards. So you're only gonna have 2 choices really if that's the case.
Yeah.
So good abilities, nothing amazing there, but the fact you have a battle trait is just a huge buff, because the other part of your battle trait, more ogres, my lord, that does not sound very ogre-y to me, but the rest is, your unit of gluttons with 3 models and one of your Morbeast cavalry units are not set up during the deployment phase. Instead, from the 3rd battle round onwards, they can use the following ability. Set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield so that every model is within 1 inch of a battlefield edge and more than 6 inches from all enemy units. And you do that in your movement phase. A different one to a lot of the other ones you see. It is any edge, which is brilliant. If it had been your side, I think that would have really killed
struggled.
this army.
Yeah.
The fact that it can be any edge is excellent. The downside is every model has got to be within 1 inch. The original Ogres one, you could really trail out your unit almost even to the centre of the board, because you had some big bases there, because only one model needed to be within 1. Now it is every model.
But also saying that, I think that really benefited the cavalry unit that came in, because like you say, you could stretch. But when the gluttons came in, they weren't stretching too much anyway. And obviously your cavalry can't stretch. I suppose you can have it in angle. So there's be some objectives it can still steal.
I'm just thinking making sure that you're getting 6 inches away from the thing you really want to charge, rather than kind of being like... Because when we played a game, you literally went, oh, your stuff's coming in, my stuff goes in the middle of the board now. And if I could have trailed it out a bit, I probably could have been the 6-inch charge from them.
You'd have gone from your 8 or 9 to a 6.
Yeah, which is huge when that turn that you need them getting in and charging. We, I think, both agree that you should probably start off with the 3 and the 2 should come in later. Just one model would make a big difference at the start.
I mean, just give them all of it. My issue with this Spearhead is it is very similar to the original one.
Yes.
Now, there's reasons for that. Obviously, they've got loads of model refreshes that they want to get in and they want people buying. And they have made attempts to change it up. There are small differences to it. But I don't think there's enough changes to really be like... If I didn't have to buy the new models and I could continue using the old ones and I was an Ogres player, I probably wouldn't buy them.
I think if you were a Spearhead player who really enjoys Ogres and wants to do well with them, you'd probably just stick with the original one. You wouldn't buy this one, because you wouldn't use this one compared to that one. Because you don't have as much coming in, you don't have any shooting, and the other one just has a more impactful 3rd battle round onwards because of the insane amount you get in. This one, I'd say, in general, has a slightly better start, because you do have a bit more mobility initially, but...
You don't have any ranged options, which limits you a little bit.
And there would just be no reason to get this one, because it's so similar to that one if you didn't really need to.
Well, obviously, we said it in when we did our first look podcast and things like that. It had just been nice. Yeah, it had been strong. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a strong Spearhead, but just have had everything.
I mean, at the very least, a unit in the 2nd battle round, a unit in the 3rd.
No, to give me, I don't know. Just give them everything.
I think everything would have been too much. Because of just the game where they do just move up to the middle and they make a whole load of insane charges, the entire army gets in, that's game done. That's the end of the game, basically.
You mean like Deepkin or the new Sylvaneth? We have very strong spearheads that do just basically do this now. And yes, you probably don't want to make too many overpowered ones, but why not? You've already got this spearhead in the original. Why not just make a really good... You might sell a few more.
You might, but then they do that, and then like 3 months later they get errated, and then they would just do exactly with this. It was like, oh, some of the units are coming in later because we realised it was just too strong.
I just basically, maybe it's just making me really worried for giants. I just look at this and went, oh, it's the same spearhead, and I'm like, oh,
that's what's going to happen there, Robin. I'm pretty confident that's what's going to happen. Going on to the army's regiment abilities. So we have brutish barging. Pick a friendly unit that charged this turn to be the target. The target can move up to 2d6. It can move through the combat ranges of enemy units that it was in combat with at the start of that move, but cannot end that move in combat. It is a once per battle, and it is end of your turn. So you wouldn't be able to do it if you counter-charge, but you're doing it on the turn that you've charged, and then you're moving a unit. It is the one that I so far have chosen all the time when I've used it, and twice it has scored me quite a lot of points.
Yeah, pretty useful for an army that doesn't have a lot of options, a lot of board control. I think this is a very good ability. Obviously, when you're rolling 2d6, there is always the chance that it unfortunately just fails and you do nothing.
Because you need to be out of combat.
Yeah.
So if you are, even if you were kind of did it quite well and you are just within half an inch and just not rolling double ones will get you out. If you roll double ones, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
You just stand still and you've wasted an ability.
I mean, like you say, realistically, anything lower than a 4, if your opponent sort of
wrapped you up a bit,
wrapped you around with a pile-in or something like that. But should get it most of the time.
Yeah, and I just think it's a really good ability for either being like, oh, I've got these cards, but I want to be fighting, so I'll fight, do some damage, and then I'll move away. Or it's I'm banking on having the double and I want my unit to charge into a unit and then move away to get another unit on the next turn, so I'll kind of plan for that and hope that sort of happens.
I also think it's a sort of a get out of jail free card sometimes, where you go, right, to turn 1, everything moves forward. Great, I get the cavalry unit in on my, because it only needed a 4 or whatever. Brilliant. I rolled a 5, I rolled a 5, I rolled a 5. Oh, now all of a sudden I've just got my cavalry unit in. That's not great. Well, at least I can pull it back and have it in a defensive position with the rest of the stuff. Yeah,
no, I really like that ability. Once per battle means that you are only doing it once. The other option, blinding dust clouds. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target friendly units that were set up in the same turn.
I mean, obviously that's a good, any kind of -1 to hits is always a really good ability, but this one's just a little bit limiting, because obviously, like you said previously, the best you've got is a 6-inch charge with 2 units. On average, you suppose you'd probably make at least 1.
Yeah.
It's not out of the realm of you making 2.
Yeah.
But then again, that's if you get in the 6-inch charges. This, to me, screams of an ability that you can set it up and then be like, cool, the best charge I've got is 9 inches. If it was for the rest of the battle round,
yes,
or
definitely.
until the start of your next turn,
yes,
I think really good ability, because then at the very least it means that if you fail your charge, your opponent has to consider going back into you.
Obviously, the main time you're doing this is when you're bringing down your 2 models. You could also do it if you use a card to bring back a unit or a model.
Yeah.
Because it has been set up. Obviously, you're still needing the 6-inch charge, because that's how far you've got to be away. And if you do use the manhole cover in City of Ash, you're setting up a unit again. So, again, it's another 6-inch charge. But maybe there are a few more plays than you initially think to that.
Yeah, actually, you know what? If realistically, if you are going first and you have been given the manhole cover by your opponent, you know you're going to have a 6-inch charge anyway.
Yep.
You're only going to get, at best, you're only going to get a 6-inch charge. So why not just teleport?
And make it that if you do get in, they're -1 to hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of play for that. As you said, I'd much rather a battle round it was set on until your next turn.
Yeah.
Because it just does feel like I could choose that ability, never make any 6-inch charges, and it just not do anything ever. So I don't think either are particularly brilliant. I like the moving at the end of the turn just because there's definitely a lot of play for that. And I keep using it early on, but if you can hold on to it a bit longer, it might be that crucial thing at the end of the game that helps you score those game-winning points. But it also could be the one that you don't really make many charges because they just lock you up and you miss your 6-inch charges when you come in even, and you don't really do a lot.
Yeah. I think obviously if you're going second and you know you're going to be facing quite a fast army, probably not best to pick that one and pick up the setup one just because, you know.
That might be, you know, if you get both, you think, if you are playing against an army that are the type that hit on 4s, and you just go, right, well, if I do get that off a couple times, them hitting on 5s really stops a lot of their damage getting through. Definitely worth it. It is hit rolls, and there aren't many things, but I'm thinking maybe like the kind of the covering fire that Cities of Sigmar Cannon can do. It would mean that if you like put it near that and get ready to charge and it shoots you, you're making it -1 to hit. So there's a few armies that it would affect a bit. But on the whole, I just wish that ability lasted a bit longer.
If the 2d6 one was every turn, then...
Yeah, the 2d6 one, like you say, you could do for multiple units. If you know, and I'll probably maybe debate this at the end, if what erratas we think this army might get, if that got errated to pick a friendly unit to use this ability, and then it was multiple units could do it, that would be very good. I'd definitely pick that every time if that was the choice.
Moving on to enhancements, you've got Wall Wrecker. Your general can pass across terrain features as if they had fly. So your general only moves 6 inches. I mean, useful, obviously. Given a unit fly, you're always useful. But he has quite a large base.
Yep.
So unless you are directly stood behind the wall, you're probably not actually getting the distance to get over. Probably helps you in charging.
Yes.
Which is probably the main time you'll use it. If you're going first, you move to the 6-inch line. Your opponent sets the wall up just in front of the unit that stood behind it. They're just not going to leave. They'll be smart enough not to leave the space. If it was a smaller base, then I would agree with you. Where it's like, it's hard to do that. Their base is so big that you could easily do that and still.
I view that one more as
it's a much later game where it will probably come in clutch.
Or they have a good shooting. I don't want my general to get shot.
Yeah.
But I've had that many games where I've gone, cool, I'll hide my important stuff behind a wall. But if you're not the most mobile army, you haven't got flying, you then end up being like, well, it took me a turn just to get out from that wall, and now I'm exposed to the shooting again. So the fact that he can just go straight through that, I think there's play on that one defensively against certain armies that have good shooting. But I could definitely see games where you pick that and it does nothing at all. Maybe you can plan better on Fire and Jade and Sand and Bone, where your terrain's just really awkward for the other opponent, and your general can just willy-nilly go in between it, come out, attack something, move, retreat out behind the wall. There's a bit of play to that, I think, maybe.
Suppose you could combo it with the moving 2d6 at the end of the turn. If you rolled well enough, you could pop back behind a wall afterwards. Use it as a free retreat, I guess.
Yeah. So I think there's play, but it's nothing crazy. It's not, if it was, he could pass through, if he had flying on the charge or something like that, that would be much better ability, where he can go over models as well as terrain.
Yeah. So you could snipe that backline cannon or general or something like that.
And they just haven't really prepared for you being able to get into that space at all.
Yeah.
We've got the Lungburster. When making run rolls for friendly units wholly within 9 of your general, if you roll a 1 to 3, you can use the value of 4 instead. Very good ability. How often are you going to be running with this army is my only question.
Yeah, you want to be getting in combat to kill the units to get the buff. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a terrible control score army, but It's also not the best. So it's sort of like a weird middle ground where it's probably going to win. So
it wins them by killing enough
Yeah,
of the
that's
enemy,
what
which
I
if
mean.
you've ran, you're not
not
then
fighting.
fighting, so it doesn't really help you. Yeah, I think that's the problem with that one. I mean, again, I look at so many of these and go, well, if I'm playing on City of Ash and it's the crossroad side, and I go, wow, imagine if
Yeah, that'd
first
be
turn we
broken.
draw the run and charge, and I'm like, well, everything's running at least a 4, maybe more, because I like the fact that you get to roll it.
Yeah.
But it's not like your run roll is always a value of 4. It's I roll. Oh, I didn't get that. Cool, I change it up. I did. Brilliant. I'm even 5 or 6, even better. Maybe it's just a situational play like that you bank on.
Wholly within 9's not ideal.
So that's when it's first turn you set up for it and just hope you draw it
Yeah.
first turn. I don't think anything else really helps you because, say wholly within 9's tricky to keep within unless you send up your cavalry and the rest of your army sits in a big clump together.
I mean,
Which is definitely playing in using your army that way.
pick it if you're playing the Shattered Crossroads.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe any other side. Probably not.
I mean, the amount of times that you've played a game and you've been like, I just need to not roll a 1 to make this run to get on that objective, and you roll a 1 and that ability would have done it for you because he's always at least giving himself the plus to. He's giving himself the ability, the extra run.
True.
So maybe there's some play in it. We've got the Death Cheater. Your general has a 6-up ward. Well, they are more than 3 inches from all other friendly units. Normally, abilities like that are like if they're within the combat range of a friendly unit, or
just give them a 6-up
or
ward.
just give them a 6-up ward. The fact that is weirdly stipulated, I can't quite work out.
I mean, to be fair, you should be able to do this quite comfortably because, as we've said numerous times already, you don't have a lot of stuff on the board, so it's not like even if you go play in the corners and you set up and you're always going to have the space to do it comfortably. So it's not like it's unachievable.
And none of your units actually have like a boost, which is like, if you're next to your general, here's this boost for the unit. The only one that you maybe take away is his ability to plus to charges.
Yeah.
But that's a wholly within 12, so you can be outside of the 3 and still giving that. I can understand if you pick that if you're against maybe a Nurgle that dishes out a lot of mortals, or Zenestra's Zealots when every time you're killing a model you're taking a mortal, because that's pretty nasty for this army. But a 6-up ward's shrugging off a tiny bit, but not reliably enough.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The final one is the Grizzled Gobbler, which is another once per battle, and it is another one that's end of any turn. So this army, you can end up doing a lot of things at the end of any turn. Pick each enemy unit in combat with your general to be the targets. Inflict D3 mortal damage onto each, then heal 3 your general. I think that is a really good ability.
I mean, yeah, you could potentially be doing a lot of mortals to a lot of units if you can plan it right.
Yeah. And then healing yourself, you've got a decent amount of health, so it's not like a 5 or 6 health model with not a great save that if he goes into combat, he's probably dying. You've got a good chance of him taking a bit of damage and then healing. It is the ability I've chosen every time I've done this army, and I've yet to do it because one time you did just outright kill him.
Yeah.
And then the next time, he wasn't in combat at the end of the turn. Yeah, he wasn't in combat at the end of the turn with anything to do it to. But I do think that ability is good for a few reasons. I feel like D3 mortal damage onto anything is really good. Healing yourself a guaranteed 3 is also really good. And it's a bit of a deterrent sometimes. If someone goes, oh, it's fine, I'll lock up their general at the back and out control scum and something with a unit, and you go, yeah, but if I do and I don't, I'm probably not going to kill him, and he's going to tap me back, then he's going to do D3 mortals, then he's going to heal. Well, maybe I'm not controlling that back objective that he's just sat there on.
Anytime you're doing damage and healing is always good. Once per battle, would it have been the most broken thing if it was end of your turn?
If they'd have done that, they'd have made it on a 4-up or a 3-up. And then do you want to... Maybe it would have been on a roll a D3 and then do the damage. And as long as you've done some damage, you get to heal. Maybe that's how they would have done
I
that.
was gonna say, what if every time he destroyed a unit, he got to do it? Tie it back into the battle trait.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Because none of those actually tie into the battle trait at all.
Yeah.
Whereas when we finally get and do, the deep dive on the latest Ogre one, all of their ones pretty much do. Well, if we were to rank them, I just feel like they're so situational. I feel like three of them are. I feel like the flying through walls is you're doing it if it's a good shooting army that you really need to hide behind, or you are like, well, they're the type of army that might leave me some gaps to charge through a wall and get in a better position. But do I think I'll need to be trying to spread myself out or I'm on the City of Ash side where I can get some runs and charges? Do they do a lot of mortals to me? Then maybe I'm picking each of those three. I feel like the D3 mortal damage and healing is the best one in my opinion.
Realistically, that should be the one that maybe isn't always a game saver. It's not always going to save your general, but at the very least, you should be able to consistently do it well.
Yeah.
And then, the other three are kind of...
I think the ward's probably at the bottom.
Yeah, and then I'd probably put the general having fly a minimum of a 4 and a run, probably even.
I think that there's play in all, and I could understand you picking all, because there's definitely no standout that's amazing. There are definitely times when you'd pick each of them, and you either won't roll any 6-up on wards, won't have any walls to teleport through, you won't do any running in the game, and your general dies before he does that ability. All of those things are very feasible.
You know what I just thought, which actually surprises me? Is there a single... I suppose there is one twist, but is there any cards that allow you to give run and charge?
I can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
No, maybe that's in the next season.
There you go, I'll take my loyalties.
That will be a good card.
Yeah, pretty much always useful.
I don't think there's a retreat and charge either.
No.
There's a retreat, take more damage in your opponent's turn.
So it's like retreat and return models, isn't there?
It's basically your movement phase that you get to retreat and then also bring back models. Potentially.
Roll a dice for every 5 up or something.
Yeah, I think so. Going on to the army then, we have your Tyrant, who moves 6, has 8 health, a 4-up save, and weirdly 3 control score. But the other Tyrant had a 5 control score. Maybe it's because you can get a boost on this one and they didn't want to boost it, so he was 8.
What? Why not?
I mean, why not? I agree, but that's all I can think.
Considering he's also lost his, again, admittedly not particularly brilliant, but he's lost his shooting attack. It's 2 downgrades.
And the old one, he gave 3 control score out and could do it on himself. So he could have been 8. So yeah, I don't see why he went down to that. But you're right, losing the shooting attack, which did a tiny bit of chip damage and could maybe get you out of a combat, is a big pity. So I'm not quite sure about that. And he only has 1 combat stat, which is 4 attacks, 4s to hit, 2s to wound, 2 rend, 3 damage. So very impactful, as long as you can get him through. You're not rolling many dice. Whereas the other one had 2 lots of attacks. It had one that was 2 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. And another one that was 3 attacks, 4s to hit, 2s to wound, 2 rend, 3 damage. So 1 less dice on the really impactful one, but another attack that did a bit of damage. So on the whole, maybe not much of a change there. Just simplifying it a bit, I guess.
So technically the previous Tyrant has the potential to do 1 more damage, but at slightly less rend. So it's a bit, combat-wise they're probably very similar. You're splitting hairs there, really. I do like the ability to be able to give +1 to charge as long as you can roll that 3 up.
Which I'm incapable of if you've seen any of our games. Because, you need this army to be getting in combat. So I think it does make a lot of sense that is its ability.
Yeah.
And it can do it to anything wholly within 12. So hopefully you're able to keep that. And if worse comes to worse, he's doing it on himself.
Yeah.
So not a bad ability at all. Would it have been crazy if it was like, and if you roll a 6, you can give 2 units the plus to charge or something like that? Maybe. Just an added little bonus to help you really try and get things in.
That's not really... no real armies do that. Especially in Spearhead.
The only
where if you have super abilities.
The only ability I can think of is Merc Knobs, where it's like, on a 1, nothing happens.
Yeah.
2 to 5, 1 mortal damage, 6 D3. So it does happen, but yeah, there aren't many. But I don't know if I'd have liked to that just not to have been so basic, just something a little bit more. Or maybe if you get it off, add to D3 units +1 to charge, because then you might still just get 1, but you could get a few more. I mean, it might be that he's not close to 3 units anyway, but I don't know if I'd have maybe wanted that just to have been slightly better when you think that this army does not have a lot of abilities, I'm learning.
No.
And you do sit there and go, I've not really a lot to do now.
It's not a super interactive army.
No, there's a lot of passive abilities that you just happen. That's your only hero phase ability. The end of turn one is kind of when your army really gets going. But then if you've not killed any units, it doesn't. So that's the way it's feeling at the moment.
Moving on to your gluttons. Technically the bulk of your army.
True, you got more of them than anything else.
They move 6. They have 4 health each, a 5+ save, and 2 control each. So you've got a squad of 2, which starts on the battlefield, and then you've got a squad of 3 that comes in later. They get 4 attacks each, obviously at 4s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. So can do a massive amount of damage. Obviously you can make that 3s and 2s if they've charged, which makes it a bit more reliable. And they do have an ability where they add 1 to save rolls if they haven't charged in the same turn. I mean, a squad of 5 of them would have been brilliant and made them pretty consistent.
Yeah, and it'd just been a really scary thing for anyone to deal with. And it not to be the case where you go, oh, there's a unit of 2, I killed one of them. Cool, that's probably not doing much to me now at all. Unless they get very lucky with their rolls.
I mean, my only thing is, it's 8 health on a 5 save. Yeah. Obviously, it's potentially a 4 if they haven't charged. You're wanting to get into combat, so you are probably charging.
Yeah, but then obviously at least it's once you have charged the next turn and you're still sat in the same combat they're getting it. That's the only good thing I think about that. I mean, their stat lines are exactly the same as the previous Gluttons. The previous Gluttons just got to add 1 to charges anyway. Didn't have to roll or anything. They just got that ability. But then +1 to saves is really nice to help them survive a bit longer.
As any type of unit like this, what makes them good is they roll a lot of dice. As soon as you start losing 1 or 2, you kind of go...
Well, 1 or 2, the unit's dead, Robin.
But as soon as you start losing some, especially with the 3 unit as well, it's a bit like, not doing a lot anymore. It's that awkward number where 4 doesn't beat a 5. It probably will, because they'll probably kill a model.
But you can't rely on them.
A 10 health unit, are they actually going to take that from them? I suppose obviously you've got the potential that you can buff to add to their control at the end, but
it's only if they kill the...
they've got something kills a unit.
Kill a unit. If that's not happened, you're not doing it. No, if I think we'd be talking very differently if they were a unit of 5. We'd be going, oh, that's a brilliant unit. It's going to go around, it's going to smash, it's going to out-control score, it's going to... But no.
At the end of the day, it's like... It's very easy to just have an unlucky one where you take 8 on a 5-up save.
Yeah. If they've just got 1 rend, and you charge into them that turn, fluffed your attack so a lot of them still alive, and then they hit you back and you just saving on a 6, no ward, that's very feasible that your unit dies. A unit that you really don't want to lose any models from is your Iron Guts. These move 6, have 4 health each, a 4-up save, and 2 control score, and you get 3 in this unit, and happily you do start off with these on the board. It would have been a lot worse if they'd started off with both the units of Gluttons, a unit of 3, unit 2, and this had been coming in the 3rd battle round. I think that would have really hurt this army. So at least they get this, because in theory it is more killing. 3 attacks each, 4s to hit, 2s to wound, 2 rend, 3 damage. So can be more impactful if they can get enough 4-ups and get the damage through. Can be plus to hits on the charge if you've killed units and you're given that ability, and can have a decent amount of control as well, which is really nice. And it can get even more control because its passive ability is add 2 to this unit's control score if it charged in the same turn. So they could be having a full unit's got 6. If they've charged, they get a +2. So that is an 8. And if they've got the extra bit, they could have 11 control score sat there.
Pretty good.
I do think these are an important unit for your army, that if you lose these early, you lose a lot of your output, and it's pretty painful. At least they've got the 4-up save, which helps, but if they've got any way of doing mortals, or just roll pretty well and you don't save very well, can just whittle you down. So I think they're a tricky unit to know what to do with, because you don't want it to send into anything that's going to hit you back. You want to send it to a unit that's going to wipe, or at the very least will do so much damage that you can't hit them back. And that's the unit. Yeah, there's not a lot
to them.
No, and like I said, the ability is passive, so it's not like you're doing anything extra with them at all. You want them to charge because of that, but then once they have charged, that ability is not being used at all.
Moving on to your Beast Cavalry, it moves 10, 7 health, 3-up save, and 3 control. So pretty mobile and pretty tanky, to be fair. That 7 health and a 3-up save is obviously depending on what you go into. It's unlikely to die in a single combat. Again, no real way of healing it, unfortunately. So you do have to be a little bit careful.
Nice that it's 3 control score. I feel like that's the unit that you go, they've got a scary shooting thing. Cool, I'll lock it up. Oh wow, I even can out control score it now because I'm 3 and it's only 2. So I do really like that for it, which I think is a big boost for it. Maybe a little wasted doing that, but it's your only thing in your army that is consistently getting up the board to be able to.
I mean, realistically, when you think about it, this is just like having a secondary hero, really.
Yeah.
Stats-wise.
Yeah.
It gets 2 sets of attacks, obviously. It gets its weapon and it gets its companion ability. It's a weapon, the Gut Bitter weapon. Gets 3 attacks, surprisingly. 4s to hit, 2s to wound. It's 2 rend, 3 damage. Pretty impactful, but not a lot of dice. It's sort of the Ogre's motto at the minute.
I mean, that is them in general.
Yeah.
When in the main game you reinforce them, so you get the consistency by more. In Spearhead, you don't.
The Beast's Horns and Fangs, you get 4 attacks at 4s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. If it goes in and you roll well, it can do a lot of damage. You are also only rolling 7 dice for a full 1. Some of them are at 1 rend, which isn't always the most reliable when you're only rolling a couple dice. I was just trying to think, if you had that as a squad of 2, that would be pretty scary, but I think they did the right thing splitting it into 2 ones.
I viewed that a little bit like I view the Maggotkin of Nurgle Bleak Hosts, the flying units, because you get 1 from the start and you get 1 in the third. It is just I go tie things up, hold up because a 3-up save is even better than that one, obviously no ward, but I won't die straight away, so I'll hold things up a little bit, and when it then does die, cool, I've got a brand new replacement that's now just running around. I'd say a pretty good target for bringing your thing back as well.
Yeah.
Coming back with a 3-up save with good mobility is quite nice if you just have the game where it dies really early.
It also, to add to its tankiness, if this unit charged this turn, pick an enemy unit in combat with it to be the target, roll a dice on a 3+ for the rest of the turn, subtract 1 from the wound rolls for the target's attacks, makes that unit just that little bit more tanky.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like so already pretty tanky, so anything that means that less damage is coming through means it can keep doing what you want it to. Because you've just got 1, it's a very swingy unit. You can't go, cool, I'll send this in and kill that unit.
Yeah.
Because you just might not. But you can definitely go, cool, this unit goes here and holds something up. Or scores my mobility tactics that I just need scoring because I need to not go too far behind before my other things come in.
This is the one thing this Spearhead has over the original Ogres. The amount of times I've played the original Ogres and I've gone, great, they're picking first. They're probably going to go first. So I set up not at my 6 inches away. I set up an inch or 2 back. They've moved everything forward. And then they've just, their charges have been 7s and 8s and they've just failed absolutely everything.
Yep.
This one moving 10, it's not guaranteed to get in, but the likelihood is...
They have to have tried very hard for them not to be 3 away from you.
And then obviously, if worse comes to worse, if they do set up nothing anywhere near you, go, alright, well, it just goes in. Again, it's a tanky unit. You want to be charging and getting into combat. But it just goes and sits on an objective and says, come take it from me.
Yeah. And with 3 control square, and, if...
It's a big enough base to basically block out the edge, so
Yeah.
they have to get into you.
And they get into you, they fight you, your unit over there fights as well, it kills a unit, that unit fought, so he gets a plus to control score, suddenly it's 6 control score.
Yeah.
I think unusually, this is an army that I actually think wants to go second. If your opponent is a good at deployment and can set up further back than 6 from you, I actually think you want to go second, because the worst thing that can happen to you is get doubled. If they double and just kill you, you're just not scoring anything. And even if you don't get the double, at least you've not been doubled, but if you can, and if you can especially do it into the third battle round, you could just have a turn where you just blitz your opponent and kill so much of them. In theory, if you come and make your charges. It's still a gotta make your charges army and gotta roll in a 4-ups army. But I think that's how this army wins. It doesn't win by scoring things, it wins by stopping you because you're dead.
I also do think there is a caveat to that. You've got to do it if the opponent isn't fast enough and somewhat tanky enough to get in and hold you up.
Yes, but the armies that are a bit more tanky are probably less units as well. So they'll be struggling scoring things. I think that's the advantage there.
Moving on to ranking them. So
the
aesthetics,
yep,
building, which we have not done, unfortunately.
Do we need to put an NA on this?
I mean, we could go for aesthetics.
Yeah, because obviously we've not built, and I mean, to be honest, painting will probably be fairly similar to what painting was and all the rest.
Yeah.
I'd say in general they do look to have a little bit more armour on. A lot of like the ogres.
There is a bit more detail to them than the previous ones.
The gluttons that we've got are much more skin. These have got a bit more armour on them. These were one of my favourite ones to paint recently because of the speed that you can paint them. And you'd like to think they were pretty easy to glue because they are big pieces.
Newer,
which tends to be newer, big pieces, less delicate little bits. And they do seem to slot in better.
I mean, I love the aesthetic. They do something that I like. They are different and like distinctly different. They're not just, well, this is the guy in armour and black armour, and this is the guy in armour and gold armour. Try and figure out which armies I'm talking about there. They are completely different. They are ugly, but in the right way, as ogres should be. But the actual models themselves are still quite well put together and follow a really nice theme. The Morbeast Cavalry, also the cavalry unit, has like a really weird smile, which is always quite funny. I've seen a lot of people meme that. Do I think the army has a standout model? No, there isn't a great deal of diversity in the army. As you just said, other than the cavalry, they're all just big ogres.
And there are only 11 models.
Yeah.
I think you definitely put this on a table. As much as the bases are big and they are big models, you definitely put them the same and go, oh, is that it? Especially when you see what you start off with.
Yeah.
Compared to some armies, I think it does affect how impressive that they do look. I mean, for me, they can't score more than the original one did, because the original one had the cannon.
Yeah.
And they look so much better on the table as a whole. But I definitely think it should get at least half a point just the fact it's new models. And people have been crying out for these new models for so long.
I mean, I had nothing against the old ogre design, but I do like the newer design of these ogres and the older ones. And again, I appreciate that is completely a personal taste, and there's going to be plenty of people out there that go, I prefer the more sort of, it's the wrong word to say, but like cartoonish design of the older ones over the more sort of realistic and gritty design for the newer ones.
Which is what Age of Sigmar is, isn't it?
Yeah,
the old world's a little bit more
into
cartoony. These are meant to be more realistic and more gritty. Yeah. I mean, we gave the original one a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
For me, these are a 3 or a 3.5.
I was going to say 3.5, because again, just because every bit individually I really like, but when you put them all together, they then all sort of, everything that makes them good sort of just gets blended a little bit. So 3.5?
I think 3. Like I say, for me, it gets the extra half just because they're brand new stuff, which we've always wanted. So that's what gets it up to the 3.5. competitiveness, playability, fun. Now, we gave the last one a 2. I feel like these, although the battle trait helps a lot in terms of they actually have one, if you were to say to me, you got to take one of these to play today, which one are you going to choose? I am choosing the original one because I think you're going to have a more fun from the third battle round onwards.
I agree with you, but I also don't think there's that much in it. I would still argue for a 2. I'm coming out the gates early. I'd still argue for a 2 because the simple fact of this army, as we've said before, ogres need a good start. This army has a much better chance at a good start.
It does.
Than the original.
But
because you still have the same issues of the stuff coming in the third battle round. It's either going to win you the game or it's going to cost you the game.
And the original one, it's harder to necessarily bring them in.
Yeah.
If you have really been blitzed early on and your opponent just goes, right, I'd block your stuff out.
At the end of the day,
it might be you don't get them all in that third battle round. These are easier for that to happen.
They've got some similar issues as the original one, but it's got, again, like I said, it's got a bit less coming in at battle round 3. So you kind of need that early start. But this army should get that early. Should
it?
Yeah, I feel like it should. It has a better chance of it.
Yeah, I think it has a better chance of scoring.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's got a better chance of surviving.
I think it does.
No, because I think the other one, you can leave a unit well back shooting, and it's shooting, it's doing something. This you can't. And I feel like the other one, at least your general can give a -1 a hit, helping you live longer. This one, you can't. And I think if they just kill your Iron Guts pretty quick, nothing else is consistently doing crazy damage. I want to like it more than I do. I was like, cool, I'll use these. I maybe want to take it to a tournament because I took Slanesh literally when they just came out, and we got one like the day after these come out. So I'm like, well, maybe that's my thing. I'll take all the new stuff. However, I really did enjoy the first game with them. You don't have a lot of stuff to do, and if your opponent just kills you, you literally had wiped. So battle report's out, so do watch it. But you'd literally wiped what was on the board. By the time my stuff came in, I had nothing on the board, and that's just not a fun game. And I didn't think it's not like you were playing the world's killiest army either. They're good, they can kill, but they're not the killiest. So if something like that can do it, then other armies can. So that's what worries me about this one, is I really do think you can have a lot of unfun games with it. I do think there is a lot of play to this army, and if things go your way and you do well, you'll actually quite enjoy it.
I mean, at the end of the day, you go in turn 1, roll your big charges and roll enough 4-ups.
But that's how many times is that happening?
Yeah, I know.
It's still probably not particularly a fun game for your opponent.
Oh, who cares about the opponent? Wow. Smash them.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
yeah,
that'll be the game you go, oh, I did this, that's cool, but that is your 1 in 20.
Yeah.
So, and you can't, I don't think you play for that. I think you have to play for, my cavalry thing goes in, everything else either sits in a big solid group together or just goes, we're blocking this objective, you're not getting on here anytime soon. If you do, I've killed some units, I've got a boosted control score. And then when everything else comes in, you do that. Or you just go, I just smash you.
I think you take the mindset of, I am not taking a super competitive army. I am going for someone's going to be dead by battle round 3. Either it's me or it's you.
I just worry more times than not it's you. That's what worries me about it.
And if you can accept that, we're here for a fun time, not a long time. I want to stick it as a 2.
I think it's a 2. It's not a 2 for competitiveness, and I don't think it's a 2 for fun. But I think it has got playability because it doesn't do a lot, but it there's definitely ways around what it does do. So I do think it has got playability. So I'm happy to give it a 2. I worry about this army.
Yeah.
That more often than not your games aren't the funnest. Is all. Well, what is the funnest is to like, subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, put in a comment. If you are listening on podcasts, then you can go to YouTube and put in a comment, or you can email us at alloutageofsigma@gmail.com and let us know what you think of the army. And your reward, if you are a listener, is that you get your episodes before YouTube. So if you are listening on YouTube and you want more, you can go straight onto all the podcasting sites, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, we're everywhere. And you can get next week's episode now. Now, you won the roll-off and you made me do the outro.
Who would do a terrible thing like that?
Yeah, ogres. I've got a feeling that when we did it last time, we were like, I'll just do half of it now and half of it later because that's the ogre's way. But I suppose now they actually do at least have a battle trait. So if you were to have a battle trait whenever you ate your food, because that's essentially what they're doing, is they're killing you and then eating you. I'm a bit confused how, like, a unit the other side of the board somehow also ate you and got a boost, but never mind. What would your benefits be once you've eaten food, Robin?
Indigestion.
That's not a benefit. That's your things coming in late. That's your downside. What's your positive?
I have a cat sit next to me, demanding part of it.
And do they get it?
No. Never once got any.
Still expects
it. Still expects it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just a little mini ogre.